All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And behold, there came a man called Jairus, and he was ruler of the synagogue. And he fell down at Jesus' feet and besought him that he would come into his house. For he had one only daughter, about 12 years of age, and she lay a-dying. But as he went, the people thronged him, and a woman having an issue of blood 12 years, which had spent all her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any, came behind him, and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her issue of blood stanched. And he said, Who touched me? When all denied, Peter and they that were with him said, Master, the multitude throng thee and press thee, and sayest thou, Who touched me? And Jesus said, Somebody hath touched me, for I perceive that virtue is gone out of me. And when the woman saw that she was not hid, she came trembling. Falling down before him, she declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately. And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort, thy faith hath made thee whole, go in peace. While he yet spake, there cometh one from the ruler of the synagogue's house, saying to him, Thy daughter is dead, trouble not the master. But when Jesus heard it, he answered him, saying, Fear not, believe only, and she shall be made whole. And when he came into the house, he suffered no man to go in, save Peter, James, and John, and the father and the mother of the maiden. And all wept and bewailed her. But he said, Weep not, she is not dead, but sleepeth. And they laughed him to scorn, knowing that she was dead. And he put them all out, and took her by the hand, and called, saying, Maid, arise. And her spirit came again, and she arose straightway, and he commanded to give her meat. It's in the 8th chapter of Luke, 41 to the 55 verse. Related passages are in Matthew and also in Mark. All these stories are psychological, must be interpreted as such. They're psychological, spiritual dramas taking place in the consciousness of all men throughout the world. You are Jairus, which means the ruling thought in your mind. You throw yourself at Jesus' feet, that is, you begin to realize that based on your new understanding of the power of God in you, you can resurrect the dying child. In biblical language, Jesus, not only a man, but it also means the same as Joshua, meaning God within you is the solution or the salvation, the answer to all your problems. It means also illumined reason, means the man who knows that God indwells him and is illumined. The dying daughter represents your unfulfilled ambition, the desire of your heart. Jesus, Jairus, the daughter, the woman with the issue of blood, Peter, James, and John, all these characters are within each one of us. It is the story of every man. Our daughter desire is dying because we lack the faith to resurrect it. We lack the enthusiasm, the energy, and the vitality. A woman with the issue of blood cannot give birth, as you know, she cannot conceive. A bleeding womb cannot possibly give form to a body. Woman means emotion, feeling, or subjective self. When our emotions are running wild and undisciplined, when we're full of fear, anger, hate, resentment, self-condemnation, we are symbolically bleeding from the womb. How can a person get a healing with such an attitude of mind? The Holy Spirit doesn't flow through a contaminated consciousness. The water in your pipe is waiting to come forth, but if the pipe is full of debris and rust and corrosion, well, it may block the flow of the water, or if the water comes out, it's in such a way so contaminated you wouldn't drink it. That's when you pray, you must forgive, forgive yourself and everybody else. You must have a clean mind, an open heart. Energy and vitality are being wasted because of fear, worry, and doubt. The womb, mind, must be closed in order to procreate. That's common sense. And the womb is your mind. And like the womb of a woman, must be closed in order to procreate. As you go within and shut the door of your senses to all objective evidence, and assume you now are what you long to be, you're closing your womb. You realize the power of the Almighty is backing you up. There's nothing to oppose it or challenge it. And you will succeed in giving form to your idea or plan. Your thought is creative. When you begin to think on what you wish to express, the creative power of the infinite responds. And by remaining faithful to the new mental focus, you will resurrect your childhood idea, dream, or aspiration. You know in your heart that the child is not dead, and that you can bring it forth. Your new attitude of mind, which is your faith, closes the womb. Thy faith had made thee whole. Faith comes through hearing. Faith cometh through hearing, as Paul said. Comes through hearing that there is only one sovereign and supreme power, which can do all things, for it is almighty. It's omnipotent, all-powerful. As we give our attention to the truth about this one power, we are said to hear. Let us hear the truth about the power of love, faith, and goodwill, about the power of forgiveness of ourselves and others. And let us trust our subjective wisdom to reveal to us the answer to any problem. Faith is going in one direction only. Faith is an awareness of the presence and power of God and its response to you. Many people give their ear to our attention to lies, falsehoods, superstition, and erroneous concepts of all kinds. When we do this, confusion reigns supreme. Somebody had touched me, for I perceive that virtue is gone out of me. You can mentally and spiritually and emotionally touch faith, love, joy, and peace. Turn to the divine presence within. Realize it's all-powerful, the ever-living one, the all-wise one, the all-knowing one, the self-renewing one. And with your eyes stayed on God, there is no evil on your pathway. And when you mentally appropriate the idea of perfect health, realizing the wholeness and the beauty and the perfection of God are flowing through you now, vitalizing, healing, restoring you, transforming your whole being into God's pattern on the mount, which is harmony, health, and peace. As you do that with faith and with confidence, knowing its nature is to respond to you, this healing power will respond, and you are made whole. This is the virtue that comes out of the depths of yourself, for God indwells everybody. I said, ye are gods, and all of you are sons of the Most High. And you are the temple of the living God. And Paul says, stir up that gift of God within you. We are told that they laughed him to scorn. Is it not true that your five senses mock and laugh at you? Do they not challenge you and say it can't be done, it's impossible? The cancer is metastasized all over the system. It's hopeless, it's incurable, and so on. This is why you suspend your senses and direct your mind to give attention to the new mental picture. And realizing that with God all things are possible, that I am the Lord that healeth thee, who healeth all thy diseases, who satisfieth thy mouth with good things, who restoreth thy youth like the eagle. And as you envelop this desire of yours with the mood of love, you become one with it. This is the meaning of taking Peter. Peter means faith in the one God. James is righteous judgment. You choose. When you judge, you choose. Therefore you choose harmony and health and peace. And John is love, sense of at-one-ment with the God presence. Love is goodwill to all, cordiality, geniality. Therefore you wish for everyone health, happiness, and peace, and all the blessings of life. And also you realize that God is love and cannot do anything unloving. You realize the will of God for you is a greater measure of health, happiness, peace, joy, and all the blessings of heaven. This is Peter, James, and John within yourself, three faculties of your own mind. The house is your mind or consciousness. Your own I amness is the father and mother of all ideas, desires, concepts, and urges. Because when you say I am, you're announcing the presence of the living God within you. It's the father and mother of all creation. Peter means, as I said, faith in God, the one power, the one presence. James is to judge righteously. When you judge, you come to a conclusion, don't you? A verdict in your own mind. Therefore you hear the good news only. You hear what's true of God is true of you. John is love, or a sense of at-one-ment with your ideal. It's also, as I said, goodwill to all men. And of course, it's loving or having an adoration and veneration for the God presence within you, which created you. You have to love the self of you, you know, and the self of you is God. And to love in that sense is to give all honor, recognition, and glory to the one who forever is. It means to have a healthy, reverent, wholesome respect for the divinity which shapes our ends, which created you from a cell. And when you do that, of course, you have respect for the divinity in others. So we take these three qualities with us whenever we recognize a state as true that is not evident to the senses. That's why he took Peter, James, and John, and the father and the mother, all within yourself. How simple that is. How utterly simple. Our reason and senses may question, ridicule, scoff, and laugh. But if we will only go within, knowing that when we feel something as true, omnipotence moves in our behalf. And that's touching the hem of the garment. For all the power of the Godhead flows to that focal point of attention within you. Then you're touching it. Biblical language, you're touching the hem of the garment. Then, though the whole world would deny it, we would demonstrate our desire because we are sealed in faith, and according to our faith is it done unto us. And behold, a man of the company cried out, saying, Master, I beseech thee, look upon my son, for he's mine only child. And lo, a spirit taketh him, and he suddenly crieth out, and it teareth him that he foameth again, and bruising him, hardly departed from him. And I besought thy disciples to cast him out, and they could not. And Jesus answering said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you, and suffer you? Bring thy son hither. And as he was yet a-coming, the devil threw him down, and tear him. And Jesus rebuked the unclean spirit, and healed the child, and delivered him again to his father. And they were all amazed at the mighty power of God. That's the 9th chapter of Luke, 38 to the 43rd verse. Related passages are in Matthew, the 17th, and in Mark, the 9th. There are similar stories, as I said, in the book of Mark and Matthew, essentially the same, which definitely seem to indicate a disease known as epilepsy today. Of course, looking at the story literally, one would think of demon possession, which was the popular belief in those days. There's only one power. Hear, O Israel, hear, O man of God, the Lord thy God is one Lord, one power, not two or three or 1,000, just the one alone who lives in the hearts of all men. There cannot be two. If there were two powers, one would cancel out the other. There'd be chaos everywhere. There'd be no order, symmetry, proportion. There'd be no design. There would be an eternal conflict. It would be suicidal. It would be absurd. How can infinity divide itself? How can infinity multiply itself? A boy who understands any mathematics or any physics or science knows it's impossible to have two powers. It's a mathematically ordered universe. And, of course, there's design and order in the universe, one power. The boy is thrown down, we're told. He foams at the mouth and wallows on the ground, suffering from convulsions. The Bible does not mention the word epilepsy. The word is derived from the Greek word epilepsie, which means a falling sickness characterized by seizures. The Greeks called epilepsy the sacred disease because it was believed to be caused by the moon. As we all know, the term lunatic comes from the Latin word lunaticus, luna meaning the moon. In ancient symbology, the moon meant the subconscious mind. That's true in all symbology of all Bibles of the world. The sun was the illumined intellect, or the conscious mind full of wisdom. So the sun in your Bible is your conscious mind illumined by the wisdom of God, or anointed by the wisdom of God. In other words, it's illumined intellect, to put it in simple everyday language, where your conscious mind is in tune with the infinite, and what you decree is true of God. In other words, the Bible is saying the child had a subconscious poison pocket, which was the cause of his seizures and epileptic fits. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. 121st Psalm. Modern psychology and psychiatry and psychosomatic medicine show definitely that mental and physical disorders have their roots in the depths of the subconscious mind, which they refer to as the unconscious. Negative subconscious patterns are called pestilences of the darkness. By turning to the God presence within and calling on the power and goodness and love of the infinite, we bring the action of God to play in our life. We prove our allegiance, devotion, and love for the infinite by identifying ourselves with the divine qualities and attributes, and by absolutely refusing to recognize evil as having any power over us. Take the word evil, L-I-V-E, spell it backwards. You have evil, don't you? That's going against the stream of life. And the life principle flows as harmony, beauty, love, peace, joy, rhythm, order. That's the life principle, always seeking to express itself as beauty, as love, as joy. It's always seeking a holy receptacle that it might express itself at higher levels through you and through everybody. When you go against that stream of life with hate, resentment, hostility, and anger and all that, then you're going against the stream of life. That's why men go berserk, you know. This is why they call it a nervous breakdown. They're a hospital cot, because they're going against the stream of life. Because of our faith in the one power, we claim the perfect harmony and perfect peace, which is the will of the infinite. Hippocrates, about 400 B.C., recognized this type of mental disorder called epilepsy, which in his time was believed to be caused by divine beings. That's a long time ago. He ridicules the superstitions of his day and points out that the disease could not be of divine origin for the simple reason that the condition was healed by purifications and various incantations which were in vogue at the time. He's the father of medicine, sometimes referred to as the father of medicine, 400 B.C. And they had healings then too, by incantations, purifications, and of course, according to their belief, was it done to them. A local psychiatrist told me that a study of this ancient doctor, 400 B.C., showed that this famous physician had a wonderful knowledge of the causes underlying mental disorders of all kinds. Whether the child in question was an idiot child, deaf and dumb, or an epileptic, it doesn't really matter. We must realize in praying for another that with God all things are possible. The book of Mark says this type of case is healed by prayer and fasting. Fasting means fasting from the sense evidence, symptoms, and race belief, fast from fear, ignorance, and superstition, fast from false theological beliefs, fast from creed, dogma, and tradition. We must fast, that is, mentally. You can fast from ham and ice cream and from various other things, but that doesn't make you holy. You may need a transfusion if you keep it up. But we must fast from the poison feast of the world, from the poison feast of objective evidences, and from the false beliefs of the mass mind. When you fast from that, you'll get somewhere. Fast from fear and faith, feast on faith in God and the goodness of God and the land of the living. Fast from ill will and feast on goodwill. Fast from ignorance and feast on the wisdom of God, the same yesterday, today, and forever. Fast from darkness and perceive the light that lighteth every man that cometh into the world. Fast from resentment and feast on goodwill to all men throughout the world. So where did this healing take place? Jesus, as the story goes, had to heal himself of the disease. Whether insanity or idiocy, and outer results necessarily followed. For after all, the insane man or the idiot can't cooperate with you, can't pray with you, he can't reason if he's insane or psychotic. That's why he's insane. His reason has abdicated. Irrational emotions have spilled over. And of course a child, as you know, grows in the image and the likeness of the mental, emotional, climate of the home. If a father and mother, for example, are fighting and quarreling and abusing each other, the little child in the cradle or the crib, of course, picks all that up. And as you know very well, the child gets sick and suffers from asthma and all manner of diseases. I've seen a lot of that. And when the parents pray together, salute the divinity in each other, speak kindly to each other, the child grows in the image and the likeness of that atmosphere of the home. And the child ceases to gasp for breath. It ceases to have skin disease and fevers and all the rest of it. So it is the prayer of faith, we're told, which gets results. The mentally deranged state of consciousness is conditioned in us as long as we see that condition of illness portrayed. The failure to heal an insane child or an idiot is not the child's fault, but the absence of faith in the disciple, that your faculties of mind. Seeing is the disciple, hearing is the disciple, imagination is the disciple. You have 12 powers or 12 disciples in your own mind. They're called disciples when they're disciplined, like disciplined imagination. I made a cassette, for example, The Wonders of Disciplined Imagination. It's immensely popular, based upon a lecture at the Wilshire Ebell Theatre. It was one of the most popular of all lectures in 1975. So we show the power there of disciplined imagination, called by the ancient Hebrews the workshop of God. The one praying must cure himself of the claim supposedly gripping the ailing child. The condition is actually gripping the practitioner, who is unawakened yet to the truth, because the insane person or the idiot can't cooperate with you. You can't say, now you use this prayer, because he can't understand it, and he is insane. In other words, he can't cooperate with you, put it in simple language. So the condition is actually gripping the practitioner who's unawakened to the truth being. When we fail in this type of case, we simply have failed to fix our mind's eye on the embodiment of wholeness, beauty, and perfection which the ailing one needs. We're told the reason the disciples could not heal the sick boy, whether it was epilepsy or whether it was insanity or idiot, there are different interpretations of it, could not heal the sick boy was due to unbelief, he said, for no other reason than belief. There's a deep unconscious belief in the minds of people that certain diseases are difficult to heal, such as insanity and cancer and things of that nature. When they see a lunatic and his symptoms, their senses are deeply impressed with the difficulties. The disciples spoken of are our own attitudes, mental faculties, and viewpoints. We must completely detach ourselves from the evidence of senses and identify with the omnipotent healing presence within, paying no attention to appearances and symptoms. We have to heal the person in our own mind, come to the conclusion of the way it is in God in heaven. Harmony, peace, love, joy, intelligence, and wisdom operating. And as you continue to do that, it's resurrected in the mind of the other person. Power, faith, confidence, and elevation of consciousness will come as we consider the divine masterpiece within, and not the appearance. I've also written a book, How to Use Your Healing Power, the meaning of the healings of the Bible. It's in a book form. It's called How to Use Your Healing Power. And this cassette is based upon a class I gave in 1975, one of the most popular of all classes. And it's also in book form as well as in cassettes. So there are 4 cassettes, How to Use the Healing Power, number 1, 2, 3, and 4. You might like to use all 4, listen to them, because all these wonderful stories are from your Bible. They're as true today as they were 2,000 years ago. For the healing power was never born, 'twill never die. Water wets it not, fire burns it not, and wind blows it not away. And where is it? Within you. And why don't you use it? Here is a treatment or a prayer process or a prayer technique that the speaker uses in treating mental disorders such as insanity, epilepsy, or whatever it might be. I go within myself and mention the name of the patient. Anyone may use it. Then I think of the infinite or the God presence for 3 or 4 minutes by mentally dwelling on the infinite peace, the absolute harmony, the divine intelligence, divine love, and absolute wisdom in the depths of myself, because God indwells everybody. At the same time, I claim that that which is true of the infinite is true of the one I am praying for. I try to get the feel that all is in order, harmony, bliss, and peace, and joy in the mind of the person being prayed for. In this way, I induce the mood or mental atmosphere of peace, health, and harmony. When I feel that I have done the best I can, I leave it and pronounce the person whole. I may repeat this treatment 2 or 3 times a day, or as often as I am led to do so, always praying as if I had never prayed before. If I have only a partial realization, the person in question will feel better, because God indwells the other person, and you create nothing. All you do is cause a resurrection of that healing power which is within all men. The main thing is to keep on keeping on until the day breaks and the shadows flee away in your own mind. It's persistence, stick-to-itiveness, determination, refusing to take no as an answer. The main purpose of all our prayers for others is to get the feeling of inward joy, and God will do the rest. In prayer, we must go to heaven, and heaven is that infinite intelligence which we live and move and have our being. It also, of course, means a state of inner peace and rest. As we enter this heaven frequently, we shall see heaven on earth. You know, there is a miraculous healing power within you, and this uplifting, healing, strengthening power of the healing presence is now restoring every atom of your being. God in the midst of you is mighty to heal, strengthen, purify, vitalize, and make you every whit whole. Have complete trust in that infinite healing presence, which is the presence of God in you. Know that this divine presence is bringing all your affairs into divine order. See and know the life of God is manifesting through you now, for God is life, and that is your life now. And that life is flowing through you harmoniously, peacefully, joyfully, lovingly, beautifully. And every atom of your being dances to the rhythm of the eternal God. Claim that the harmony and beauty and love of the infinite are now manifesting through you as strength, purity, beauty, wholeness, perfection, and eternal youth. The rejuvenating power of the infinite spirit is now operating in every atom of your being, making you whole, pure, fresh, and radiant with divine life and divine wholeness. Every moment of your life, you're growing stronger, healthier, happier, and more youthful. The vitalizing, tireless energy of the life of God is flowing through you now. And you feel wonderful, for his name is wonderful, the mighty God, the everlasting Father, the Counselor, and the Prince of Peace. Within you, God is your dwelling place, and you're surrounded with the whole armor of God. God created you. God sustains you, for God is the living spirit within you. Your consciousness, your awareness, your I amness, your beingness, it's a nameless name, because God is spirit, and they that worship him in spirit and in truth. And a spirit has no face, form, or figure, is timeless, shapeless, and ageless. Therefore you worship no man on the face of the earth. You worship no man who ever lived, who is living now, or ever will live. To worship is to give your supreme allegiance, loyalty, and devotion to the one power within you, and that's the living Spirit Almighty, because you know in your heart the great truth. Closer is he than breathing, nearer is he than hands and feet. God in the midst of you is mighty to heal, and is healing you now.